Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Tremblay sits on the Finance Committee, and I think he's probably best informed as to the macro level question that Councilmember Santangelo just asked about the overall effect of multiple accounts opting out of CPA. Plus, I think at this point in the conversation, his background information could really answer a lot of questions ahead of time. So, Mr. Tremblay.
Boy, with that kind of buildup, I don't know. I want to also recognize that we have Karen Schmidt from the Clean Power Alliance with us here tonight, and thank you, Karen, for being here. And Roger, thank you for your staff presentation. Little did I know, about 18 months ago when I volunteered to be the council member on this brand new Joint Powers Authority, that I would be spending the amount of time and hours that Charlotte and Sean spend on the Camarillo Ranch Foundation and all of us spend on other things.
Yeah, but you've been doing it longer.
But that's with tongue-in-cheek. Susan, I think the bottom line, I have some specific comments, but I think the bottom line answer to your question, if I understand it correctly, and that is that from a budgetary standpoint for 2019-2020, the Finance Committee was essentially looking at about a $1 billion revenue budget with spending about $950 million or $975 million, I believe, for energy costs, because of the anticipated opt-outs associated with these about 1,800 large users. That budget forecast has been revised downwards to around, and I believe, Karen, it's about $750 million a revenue budget and about a 700 and just slightly under that expenditure budget. In other words, proportionately, to the extent that you've got these users, large users opting out, which, by the way, by user percentages represent about 1% of the Clean Power Alliance customers, whereas 99% of Clean Power Alliance's customers are residential and small business. However, because they're large users, they represent a pretty large portion of the load, the electrical load for clean power. Anyway, I'm sorry about going on at length. Does that answer your question, though? Because, in essence, there will be less energy from a revenue standpoint, but less expenditures on energy. Does that make sense?
It does. Okay.
So, you know, and if I can go ahead and just make some comments, because I'm the one who I'm the one who goes to these meetings. But this is I have learned an awful lot in a very short period of time, and topics that I really had no prior professional experience with, particularly the energy markets. This was precipitated, and it was really unfortunate, as we learned in our study session, that Clean Power Alliance had to implement a rate increase earlier this month, which affected all of these Phase 4 non-residential customers, about 1,800 large users. But if that didn't happen, if Clean Power Alliance had not implemented that rate increase, then you would be having residential and small business customers, 99% of the users, they would have been subsidizing large users, including the city. So it would have been 99% subsidizing the 1%. And to me, that's not equitable nor fiscally prudent. Okay, so what do you do with that? Well, the city's a large user, just like the city's a large user, just like a lot of other large users. So we have to assess our own accounts. The potential hit to the city, if we keep the 108 accounts within the CPA, is in excess of $233,000 for fiscal year 2019-20, or almost $232,000 plus. To me, that doesn't make any sense to do that from a city's fiscal standpoint, nor to our ratepayers. I think the city should opt out of the affected rate classes, return the accounts to Edison. We can review the matter again next year when things settle down. If we take this action, it makes no difference with respect to the city's membership as a member of the Joint Powers Authority. So it's not going to impact our membership in any way. Am I happy about this whole circumstance? No, but it's reality due to a variety of circumstances and which really are beyond the control of Clean Power Alliance. But in order to start talking about that, I'd have to really go down in the weeds, and you would not be happy with me about that. I will say one thing, and that one additional thing, and that to the folks who are listening tonight, our city residents, you are on unless you have picked a different tier, the City Council placed Camarillo residences and small business on a 36% default tier. You are paying 1 to 2% less than Edison's base rates right now, and that is a fact. So Camarillo is leaner and cleaner by virtue of having been in the Clean Power Alliance. What we are talking about tonight is only with respect to those large users, of which the city is one. So from a fiscal standpoint, I would suggest that we go ahead and opt out. And in fact, if it's okay with you, Mr. Mayor, I'll go ahead and make that motion.
Certainly.
Second. Other people,
Well, there you go. I would move.
might have
I'd move this.
comments,
I'd
though.
move this that's fine. I'll move this suggested staff action. And I think there was a second, Mr. Mayor, but I don't want to be
Is there a
presumptuous.
second? There is a second. Any further discussion on this? John, anybody have anything else to say? Please vote. That passes unanimously. Okay, so let's see, Counselor, we do have now, we've got a study session, but we do have a closed session. Would be appropriate to announce?
Yes, it would be. It's conference with real property negotiator. The authority is Government Code Section 54956.8. The property is the Camarillo Ranch at 201 Camarillo Ranch Road. The agency negotiators are listed in the agenda. Negotiating parties is the Camarillo Ranch Foundation Board. Under negotiation, lease, price, and terms of payment.
Okay, so with that, we are in recess.